There's a moment in everyone's financial journey that stands out. Not because it was a triumph, but because it serves as a lasting lesson. For me, that moment arrived with a decision I wish I could take back. A choice that revealed just how costly a lack of knowledge, preparation, and discipline can be. My hope is that by sharing the worst financial decision I ever made, you'll be able to sidestep the same pitfalls and maybe even see red flags before you commit to your own course. It started with a sense of excitement. I was in my early 20s, fresh out of college, and for the first time, I was earning a full-time salary. The world felt wide open. Sure, my student loan payments loomed, but the thrill of financial independence was electric. Everyone around me seemed to be making big purchases. First cars, designer gadgets, luxury apartments. Caught in the whirlwind, I felt compelled to level up. I wanted a place of my own. And in my mind, owning was the only legitimate choice. Fueled by confidence and the often repeated advice that renting is just throwing money away, I jumped into the housing market with both feet. I'd saved a little, a few $1,000s, but nowhere near enough for a recommended down payment. No matter. The bank was happy to approve me for a mortgage with just 3% down. The monthly payment would stretch my budget, but I convinced myself it was a temporary crunch. Your salary will go up, I reassured myself, and you'll build equity. What I didn't realize was how little I truly understood about homeownership, the local real estate market, or the broader economy. The process moved quickly, and between eager realtors and reassuring loan officers, I barely paused to question the details in the fine print. Soon, I was the owner of a stylish condo with new appliances, an open-concept living room, and, unbeknownst to me, a host of hidden costs. Even on move-in day, those costs started to emerge. The sellers hadn't disclosed that the air conditioning unit needed replacement, and the homeowners association fees had an annual assessment schedule I'd misunderstood. I also had to buy furniture, because what's a new home without the things to fill it? My emergency fund, slim to start, was quickly decimated. Within a few months, it was clear I had overreached. My mortgage payment, combined with utilities, repairs, and association fees, devoured over half my monthly income. My student loan payments still demanded attention, and I was left with precious little for groceries, transportation, entertainment, or saving for the future. I tried to compensate by putting expenses on my credit card, reassuring myself I'd pay it off when I got my next raise. Instead, my debt grew, my stress snowballed, and every unexpected bill hit harder. The turning point came when my employer announced a round of layoffs. Suddenly, the security I'd counted on was gone. Without a significant savings buffer, I had to scramble to cover bills. Unloading the condo wasn't easy either. The housing market had cooled, with more sellers than buyers. I ended up selling at a loss, with closing costs eating up what little equity I'd accrued. Even as I handed over the keys, the credit card balances and leftover moving expenses followed me into my next, humbler chapter. Here are the hard-won lessons I hope you'll take to heart. First, never let excitement override preparation. I let the thrill of milestone purchases blind me to the real, long-term commitment involved. Buying property is one of the biggest financial choices most people ever make, and it's not a decision to rush, especially if all the numbers don't add up. Second, do your homework. Owning a home isn't just about a mortgage payment. There are repairs, taxes, fees, and countless unexpected expenses that renters never face. When your budget is already tight, one leaky roof or broken appliance can upend your entire financial plan. Before you sign anything, map out every possible expense and give yourself a healthy financial cushion. Third, avoid lifestyle inflation. It's easy to feel you deserve something big as soon as you start making real money, but greater income only matters if you spend intentionally. The friends and acquaintances whose choices influenced me? Many were quietly in debt too. Comparison is not a sound financial strategy. Fourth, never underestimate the value of liquidity and flexibility. When my circumstances changed, I had no easy options. Real estate is illiquid, meaning it can take months, sometimes years, to access the money you've put in. Had I waited, continued renting, and built up my savings, I could have navigated my layoff with far less anxiety. Finally, learn from your setbacks rather than being defined by them. Making a bad financial decision doesn't mean you're bad with money forever. It's a signal to pause, reflect, and recommit to better habits. For me, that included tracking every dollar, prioritizing savings, and only making big purchases with careful research and a clear understanding of all the risks involved. Looking back, the worst financial decision I ever made came from a mix of impatience, inexperience, and a desire to keep up with others. In the years since, I've learned how common these feelings are, and how easy it is to override our better judgment in moments of enthusiasm. Society often encourages us to chase after milestones, not just for fulfillment, but as evidence that we're progressing. The truth is, there are many forms of success, and financial health begins with self-awareness and discipline. If you're standing at a similar crossroads, thinking about buying a home, leasing a new car, or making any other major financial move, pause. Ask yourself whether you've accounted for all the costs, whether your urge is rooted in your own priorities, and whether you could weather an abrupt change in your situation. Seek outside advice from those who faced setbacks as well as wins, and remember that in money matters, patience is often the wisest investment you can make. Let my hardest lesson become your easiest one. Take your time. Build your foundation on knowledge, savings, and genuine readiness rather than the fleeting pressures of the moment. If you do, your financial future will be far brighter, and those difficult choices will become stories you tell, not regrets that weigh you down.